Alright guys, for the next section, now we're really going to focus on the special right triangles. So, you have to know some rules. There's some parts that we need to know, have memorized. Now, an example, basically a picture will be provided for you on your formula chart. I'll kind of show you that. Let me see if I can get this open. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'm trying to get to that formula chart. Sorry about that. Trying to get to that formula chart that you're going to get to use. The green one you get to use in the test is the star formula chart here. It has your midpoint distance formula. So on the right triangles part, there's your Pythagorean theorem. The trigonometric ratios are what we're about to get into. But here are your special rights. So this is the only thing you'll get to use. You just got to make sure you understand what this is saying. So I think knowing it by heart is the fastest way, but just being able to interpret that if it's a right isosceles, a 30, 60, 90 here, then your x and your x are representing your legs, and your hypotenuse is the leg radical 2. If it's the 30, 60, 90, your x is your short leg, x root 3 is long leg, and 2x is your hypotenuse. You got to know the difference between the two. So as for your parts here, what we want to make sure you can recognize is always opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse. I'm just going to abbreviate that. You can put h there. And then here are your two legs. Basically what that means is this would be your x and your hypotenuse would be your x root 2. So if you have a 45, 45, 90, or right isosceles, it is x, x, then x root 2. So this would be a leg, and then whatever the leg is, times root 2. So as for problem solving, remember some other facts that are true for both triangles is that if you go from a small part, I probably need to move this over so we can see this better. If you go to to big, anytime you go small to big, you're multiplying. Anytime you go from big to small, to a small side, you're dividing. Okay. So as for a 30, 60, 90 triangle here, again, always opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse. I'm just going to put h there. Opposite the 30 is your short leg, and opposite the 60 is the long leg. So there's a difference. The legs are the same in the right isosceles, excuse me, but not in 30, 60, 90. So in your table 30, 60, 90, the rules are x, x root 3, and 2x. X is your short leg. To get to the long leg, it's whatever your short leg is times radical 3. And this is 2 times the short leg. That's why the short leg is key on a problem like this. So we have been using, let me go to the other side, this flow chart to help you. Remember, you won't be able to get to use this on your test. So just kind of memorize what to do based on where you're starting. If you're at the hypotenuse and going to the leg, it says right here, divide by root 3 from leg 2, hypotenuse multiply. And the key on this one is always starting at the short leg. But if you don't have the short leg, you have to get back. So we'll do a couple of these together. Make sure you have the correct understanding. Because I see this 45 right here, then I know that these two are my legs. And to get to my x, I'm just taking whatever the leg is, multiplying by root 2. So this would be 8 times root 2, which is just 8 root 2 as your hypotenuse. And I know some of you can just do that mentally, just automatically looking at it. On number 16 here, for example, I am given the side opposite the 30. The side we know, to start with what you know, is the short leg. So to get to the hypotenuse, which is the y, to get to that hypotenuse, you just have to double 2 times the short leg. 2 times 4, which means your y is 8. To get to your x, which is the long leg, you just take whatever the short leg is times root 3. So 4 is the short leg times root 3 would give me 4 root 3. This would be my x. Okay. So know what side you have. Also label your sides if it's a leg or short leg or long leg. So if we go to here, number 17, what is given here is the hypotenuse. We're trying to get to a leg. So from going from big to small, we're dividing, and we're going to end up dividing that 16, which is the hypotenuse, by the root 2. We cannot keep it like that. This is when we rationalize it so that we don't have a radical at the bottom. This turns into 16 root 2 over 2. And I can simplify 16 divided by 2 into 8 and then root 2. So my legs are 8 root 2. On 18, labeling your sides that you know. So like the 12 here would be the hypotenuse. The 6 would be the short leg. The x is the long leg. So you're going from short leg to long leg there. I'm not going to do that one. I want to do 19 because this 6 here is the long leg. My w is my short leg. And my x is my hypotenuse. So I'm going from the long leg, which is right here, back to the short leg. You always want to start with short leg. And it says right here we're going to divide by root 3. So I take the value I have for that short leg, which is 6. I'm going to now divide that by root 3. I cannot keep it like that, so I'm going to rationalize that by multiplying the top and the bottom by root 3. So this gets simplified to 6 root 3 over 3. And I can simplify 6 divided by 3 into 2. So that lets me know my w, I know I'm running out of room here, ends up being 2 root 3. And then my hypotenuse, which is x, is just double that, which would be 4 root 3. Okay. Now here we have to recognize that you are given a square, so all sides are congruent. So if I know the perimeter is 24, divide that by 4, that means each side is 6. And now you should know a square creates a right isosceles. Okay, so we have our legs, our hypotenuse. You're going from a leg to hypotenuse. Small to big means you multiply. This is the same thing here. We have a square. They want us to find the diagonal. So if this is a square, then it turns into a 45, 90 triangle. So this other leg would also be 3 root 5. We're looking for the hypotenuse. To get the hypotenuse, you take the leg and multiply it by root 2. So you're taking that 3 root 5, multiply by root 2. Your missing diagonal would be 3 root 10. Here, the tick marks are letting us know that this is 45. And so your 12 is your hypotenuse. We're trying to get back to a leg. Whenever you go from a leg back to a hypotenuse, back to a leg, you're going to have to divide. So just to get you started, this 12 is divided by root 2. Sorry. And then you need to rationalize this because you can't keep a radical in the denominator. So I'll let you finish that one. 23 is similar to 22 in the sense that, again, I see the 45 here. So it tells me x and y are legs. And my 2 root 6 is my hypotenuse. To go from a leg, hypotenuse, to a leg, you're going to divide. So if I have a 2 root 6, you would divide it by root 2. Since these are both radicands, they both have a radical sign with them, we can simplify them to 2 root 3. Okay. And then here on 24, now I see a 60, so this is a long leg. Y is a short leg. My 8 root 5 is my hypotenuse. I need to always go back to the short leg first. So to do 8 hypotenuse to short leg, you're dividing by 2, which means my Y is 4 root 5. Half of 8 is 4. And now I'm going from my short leg back to the long leg. So I'm multiplying by root 3. So I take the short leg, which is 4 root 5, and I multiply by root 3. So 4 root 15. Now, continue to work, all right? Now when we get to our last little problems here, we have multi-step. So you have to know where to start, okay, which triangle to start with. You start with the triangle you have a side measure 2. So like on 27, I know this hypotenuse is 5 root 2. So I would be starting with this triangle first. Now, if you want to redraw it, you can. If this is 5 root 2, and I know it's a 45, 45, 90, the legs are the same. So that means the legs both would have to be 5 here. So that now lets me know that this shared leg is 5. And in that triangle, that also is a hypotenuse. So I'm going from hypotenuse to this missing leg. I take that 5 that represents the hypotenuse, divided by root 2. I cannot keep it like that. So I rationalize it by multiplying the top and bottom by root 2. I get 5 root 2 over 2, and that is my x. So you need to start with one triangle, a side that it's given that you know in the one triangle, and go to the next triangle. For example, on 28 here, we have this 10 root 3. So I'm using this 30, 60, 90 triangle first. And this is a long leg, which means this would be a short leg, and this would be the hypotenuse. If my long leg is 10 root 3, then my short leg is just 10. So now I know the shared side here is 10 in that short leg. But that, I'm just going to redraw it here. For my red triangle here, that 10 is actually the long leg in the adjacent triangle. The x here would be the short leg, and then over here would be my hypotenuse. So I'm going from long leg back to the short leg. So I'm dividing this 10 by root 3, rationalizing it, and getting that x is my final answer is 10 root 3 over 3. Cannot simplify that any further. Okay. Because sometimes you will have some fraction answers. Sometimes you'll have a whole number answering depending on your Radican. I'm going to look at 30 real quick because on 30 we have two different types of right triangles. One is 45, 45, 90. So in the 45, 45, 90, because we have this 4 root 10, we have the legs. So this is a triangle I should do first. And I should find the shared side, which is here, the hypotenuse. To get to that hypotenuse, you have to take whatever the leg is and multiply by root 2. Our leg in this problem is the 4 root 10. I'm then multiplying it by root 2. The hypotenuse turns into 4 root 20. But that root 20 can be simplified. I could do 4 and 5. And the 4 is the perfect square. But when I take that out, it comes out with the 4 that's already outside here. And you're multiplying those together. So our hypotenuse is 8 root 5. Okay. I'm going to change my font. I'm now in this shared side in the 30, 60, 90. And that lets me know that this shared hypotenuse is also a hypotenuse right there in the 30, 60, 90, which is 8 root 5. we're trying to get to the x, which is the short leg. So to get from hypotenuse to short leg, you take the 8 root 5 and divide it by 2. X, our short leg, would be 4 root 5. Okay, so I do want you to try to complete some of these. 31 is similar to 30 in the sense that you're starting again with the hypotenuse. You want to get to your short leg and then get to your long leg. That long leg is a shared leg in the 45, 45, 90. So half of the hypotenuse, that's the short leg, would be 3 root 2. But then you multiply it, you get a radical answer here. So try these. Let's check them in class. And then this is a bonus. I think the only clue I can give you is that this is the short leg, this is the hypotenuse, this is the long leg. I would do this like I normally would do. Go from hypotenuse to short leg, and I would take that 4j, and make it equal to whatever my short leg is, and then solve for j. Okay, that's my hint. This is a bonus. Might be a type of bonus you might see. So there you go. All right, get this done. We'll probably do a quizzes as extra credit to practice, to review, and test is on Wednesday. Thanks.